Hi. So I've just been reading a report in today's Times, which frankly makes my blood boil. This is in today's Times, the 24th of January 2020, and the headline is French teenager in hiding after insulting Islam online, reports by Adam Sage in Paris. This is a report, no copyright infringement intended, it's property of the Times. And basically, I'm not going to read it all out, but basically, the report is about a young woman in the south of France, a girl, just 16 years old, in the south of France. She's being named as Mila. That's not her real name. This is in, I believe it's, let's get the exact location here. Um, the Isère area near Lyon, right? So, south central France. Basically, got into an exchange with a male user on Instagram who had been making quite aggressive sexual advances towards her online. She rejected him. He then proceeded to lambast her with homophobic insults. For example, calling her, as the report says, what she described heavy-handed propositions. When she refused his sexual advances, he called her a dirty dyke and mentioned that he was a Muslim. She responded by saying, I hate religion. The Quran is full of hate, and I'm quoting here, there is only hate in it. Islam is a shit religion. That's what I think. The video has now been viewed more than 1 million times, provoking a vehement backlash against the teenager. And she's told French media agencies that at one point, I was receiving 200 messages of pure hatred a minute. Blasphemy is not a crime in France. Proponents of the secularism that has been the official French state policy since 1905 argue that the country should make few concessions to Islam and avoid going down a British-style multicultural path. Um, this could easily have happened in the UK as well. To be honest, we can look at French secularism versus British multiculturalism. I think this is a Western problem, particularly Western Europe, insofar as what really made me angry, I saw France 24 report on this, and the two male anchors, don't know their names, were actually, they commenced a discussion of this by talking about the so-called allegations of hate speech that she made. Hate speech. What she done was criticize religion. What she done was say why she hated Islam. There's nothing in the report that suggests she was stirring up hatred against all Muslims. She was defending herself from online harassment. Now, prosecutors said two separate criminal inquiries were underway. The first to track the authors of the threats to kill and rape the teenager. The second to determine whether her comments amounted to the offence of hate speech. So there's an immoral equivalency going on here. I sincerely hope that they don't find that she is guilty of hate speech over what is reported there. Saying that Islam is a shit religion might be blunt, but hate speech? Surely hate speech should only be denoted to be targeted at people rather than religion, rather than beliefs. And if you say you hate conservatism or liberalism or socialism, is that hate speech? Why should religion have special protection? Only people should have protection. It's just sinister, quite frankly. And this is happening in secular France. You can imagine in Britain, where we actually promote multiculturalism. This is just another reminder that Islamism is simply incompatible with democratic Western values. That's not to say that Muslims are incompatible with democratic Western values. There are reformist Muslims, there are secular Muslims out there, but it makes my blood boil that there are so-called liberals who actually try to draw moral equivalencies here. So yeah, she's got support from Marine Le Pen. She's also got support from left-wing feminists, I have to say, in France. Often Western feminists are accused of not speaking up on these things. Well, to be fair, French left-wing, left-leaning feminists have supported her. There's an online trend, Je suis Mila. There's also a counter trend, most likely turned on by Islamists and their apologists, um, by the name of Je ne suis pas Mila. I am not Mila on Twitter. I'm going to put a link to the petition underneath. There's actually a petition on change.org to ensure that this young woman has police protection. It's an absolute disgrace that that is needed. That in the year 2020, a French teenager needs police protection because she's offending a religion. Let me just say this. If you're so thin skinned, if you feel the need to send violent threats to a young woman because she said something you don't like about your religion, then what does that say about your religion? I would frankly, if they then directly threats to me because I'm speaking out in defense of her, bring it on. You know, if you're a man and you're making threats to violently rape and kill a young woman, you're a piece of shit. You are a worthless card. And I have to say, one thing struck my mind, you know, when Greta Thunberg received criticism, there were a lot of people, particularly on the political left, lining up to say, "Oh, it's all jealous, insecure, middle-aged guys." Which is not accurate, actually. But anyway, where are they now? I wonder how many of them are speaking out vocally in defense of this 16-year-old young woman. And let's think of the context here. She didn't just make a video saying, "Oh, I'm going to make a video attacking Islam today." She was doing it in the context of the guy who described himself as a Muslim in that context. If you're so thin-skinned that you feel that's what makes my blood boil. Islamists are going to be Islamists, okay? I think they are morally skewered. I don't think they have. I think they're so dogmatic in the religious zeal that they're going to do what they're going to do. I'm actually less worried about them than I am worried and infuriated by so-called Western liberals who are not Muslims but who actually try to make moral equivalencies. Now they won't support the death threat, but what they will do is say, "Oh well, it's maybe she made racial hatred, maybe she insulted their religion," and they actually think. I mean, these two anchor men on France 24, their whole pitch was to try and sit on the fence, and they actually said they could close the discussion by saying, not well, wasn't much of a discussion, it was just the two of them. But they closed it by saying, "Oh well, maybe both sides need to calm down." Both sides. Both sides. It's absolutely disgusting that they would even try to make that sort of moral equivalency. So I'll put a link to the petition. It's in French, but basically it's saying it's asking for this young woman to get police protection. Um, I think they absolutely. It's just sad that there's actually an investigation into whether she committed a hate speech. For what? Because she defended herself? There might be ground for that if she just randomly made a video saying she hates Muslims, but that is absolutely not what has happened here. It's just repugnant, quite frankly. And those Western liberals, so called liberals or left wing people who preach about tolerance, and yet they're silent when it comes to things like this, or they say that if you defend her, you're being far right. It's absolutely. I mean, so what if Marine Le Pen supports her? If you're a decent human being, you should be supporting her. Uh, and it's just a glaring reminder that Western Europe really, really needs to wake up. This is why populist parties get traction. Because when mainstream parties are silent, I mean, if something like this happened in the UK, what would the Liberal Democrats have to say? What would the Labour Party have to say? What would the Conservative Party have to say? What they should be saying is vocally defending the right to criticise religion without attacking religious adherents. But frankly, these Islamist thugs who are making these threats, I do hope there are some arrests. I hope there are arrests. I hope they face the full penalties of the law. I mean, I would have thought that threatening to rape and kill someone is a pretty serious offence, and anyone who thinks this is hot air needs to look at the track record of, particularly in Islamic countries, where people have been brutally killed for offending Islam. What she actually said, I mean, it's hardly a contentious point. She said, the Quran is full of hate, there is only hate in it, Islam is a shit religion. Okay, it's provocative, but their response isn't exactly countering that, is it now? So if you're a Muslim and you're thinking, oh, she's wrong, I would say if you're a Muslim woman, where is your empathy for another woman? Where is your empathy for a victim of sexual harassment? You say that you're liberated as a Muslim woman? Well, prove it. Speak out in defense of this young woman. I am just sickened by not only this level of medieval intolerance, but the fact that there is actually people out there making moral equivalencies. These two idiots on France 24, now they would say they're just the messengers, they're just reporting it. But if you look at the way they reported it, I'll put a link under this. It's absolutely infuriating. I'll also put a link to the petition. Please sign it. It's basically calling for her to have police protection, but it's a disgrace that it's come to that. She said that someone called my Lisi pretending to be my father. She said the Lisi called the police to protect me. Lisi is the term for sixth form college. The prosecutor's office in Via near the on said the viral posting spread on social media networks of a video posted by a young girl expressing during a personal discussion. Virulent and hostile comments about the Muslim religion has provoked a multiplication of reactions taking the form of death threats and threats to commit crimes. The gravity of the threats has made it necessary to remove the girl from school temporarily and to take care of her. Maybe the petition's not even necessary, but it's just it's just sinister. We're not talking about 1550 here. We're talking about 2020. So the next time a Muslim insists Islam is a religion of tolerance, what do they have to answer for a case like this? We're not talking about ISIS here. We're talking about, the people making these threats aren't going to be necessarily ISIS terrorists. To those reformists and secular minded Muslims, please do the right thing and please speak out. And I know often they do. The problem is they don't get attention from the media. And what I'm saying by that is that I think also it comes down to politicians and the media to stop talking about whenever Islamists are offended, portraying that as offence to all Muslims. We see it in the UK as well. This cardly political correctness around the subject. I basically believe people have the right to hate religion. If you disagree with a position, then debate them. Tell them why they're wrong. Tell them, debate with them. But sending violent death threats to a young woman because she offends your religion, that makes you a card. An absolute card. Chilling, actually. But my biggest concern is not that these Islamists are making these sort of threats. That's nothing new. That's what they do. My biggest concern and my contention here is the attitude of Western liberals. so-called liberals. I mean, real liberals would have the natural response of being absolutely behind this young woman, but there are so-called liberals and people on the left, and a few on the right as well. There are some conservatives who even take the politically correct approach. It's just sickening to see their cowardice because their cowardice has implications, especially if they're in a position of power. This is just an indicator. If these people are living in France and making these threats, what does that say about integration? You know, the fact that they're issuing rape and death threats rather than just saying, oh, well, she's wrong, or we disagree with her, or something like that, or recognizing that she was a victim of sexual harassment and homophobic abuse. In fact, I hope on top of, if they do arrest some of these people, I hope they also charge them with hate speech for the homophobic. Well, certainly this guy. I hope he is found and arrested for sexual harassment. And I really hope this young woman is safe. But sadly, we saw what happened to Charlie Hebdo. So, to those French people who are putting out this tag saying they're not Milo, if you're women, shame on you. Your cards. Where's your empathy for your sister? And to those who do support her, I'm with you. I don't care if you're left wing or right wing. If you support her, you're on the side of common sense.